Now, this particular study was conducted on fibromyalgia patients, and there were 117 patients that entered the study. Okay, so it's over 100 patients. And they were split into 3 groups. These are fibromyalgia patients. The first group was the control group, and they were taking a treatment, a medication known as pregabalin. And sometimes in the US it's called Lyrica. And it's one of the only treatments that is recommended for fibromyalgia. And it's a drug that often is also prescribed for epilepsy as well. So the control group were taking a particular drug, so that's an active control. Then a second group took part in mild physical activity, mild to moderate physical activity to support their symptoms. And a third group took the Gupta Program. And in our clinical studies, the Gupta Program is known as AIR, or amygdala and insular retraining. All right, so these were the results. So after 3 months, first of all, in the active Gupta Program group, there was a 54% reduction in fibromyalgia scores. So more than a halving of fibromyalgia scores, which for us was an incredible result. And what's really interesting is that many people can say, well, do the results actually last? Yeah, does a person continue to have these benefits? But we can see in the follow-up, so the follow-up was 8 weeks later, those patients continue to experience that improvement. And of course, in this particular study, it was a 3-month study, and we often encourage patients to continue for 6 months. So had this been a 6-month study, we think that there would be continual and further improvement in those scores. And let's look at some of these specific symptoms. So looking at sleep disturbances. So sleep, we know, is a big issue in fibromyalgia, long COVID, and many different chronic diseases, chronic inflammatory diseases. And in this study, we were quite surprised ourselves. And remember, this was an independent study, so we were not involved in the conduction of this process and this study. There was a 63% reduction in sleep disturbances and only 15% in the pregabalin group. Now let's look at depression. Now what's really interesting is that in a lot of these types of studies, perhaps depression and anxiety isn't followed, but in this study, they did look at mood in addition to physical symptoms. And this is, once again, for us, a great result here, that a halving of depression, essentially, and only an 8% improvement in the control group, the pregabalin group. And finally, a 16% increase in cognitive function and only 4% in the control group. Then looking at long COVID. This was a study where we compared the Gupta Program to a wellness program. So this was comparing apples with apples, where it was a structured 12-week program, like the Gupta Program is, and this wellness program. And what we noticed, and this was very exciting once again, the Gupta Program was 4 times more effective at reducing fatigue compared to the wellness program. And that wellness program had supplements, diet changes, sleep, activity levels, how to calm the mind. So it was a very comprehensive wellness program. And yet the Gupta Program was 4 times more effective at reducing fatigue, twice as effective at increasing levels of energy. And there was a 97% increase in energy levels in the active Gupta Program group. So this was a study on long COVID, and we've got more studies that we're working on long COVID. And we really want to give people hope that we are seeing people improving. We are seeing people healing from these chronic conditions every day. And so I really hope that you can share this and give inspiration and hope to people all over the world.